What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out our website, ckwrapstoronto.com, and subscribe to the mailing list for exclusive offers on products and discounts. So today I'm installing this light blue chrome, and it might look a little bit turquoise-ish, but it's not. It's light blue. There's a touch of green to it for whatever reason, and we're gonna install it on this Audi S8. So this Audi S8 is a big body car. It's gonna use up a ton of this film, and this film only comes 54 inches. There's a couple of characteristics when it comes to installing chrome, and it's not really for a beginner level. I would definitely stay away from this because you're gonna end up causing a lot more damage to the film, and you're gonna end up spending a lot of money on doing this install. Of course, you have to learn somewhere, so we do offer a level 3 advanced workshop when it comes down to that, but that is like an invite only, so you'd have to complete the level 2, and then after you have some experience, we'd get you into wrapping with chrome. Now, chrome is very delicate in its state. This one comes with a protective cap on it, so in its state right now, it's not as delicate. We can try to install the chrome with the protective capping on it, but that also inhibits us from stretching it as well, because the capping is not pliable. It does not move. Another thing with this chrome is it has for its release liner, it is actually like a sheet of plastic. So it keeps the film actually very rigid. And when you're removing the release liner, there's a very low chance of it actually creasing. It's also probably good for transport and stuff like that. So, you know, it has these characteristics to it. The film is a little bit thicker than most films. And again, it's very vulnerable to damaging. So that means damaging means like we can crack it, we can haze it, and it also tears very easily just because of this mirror finish. So the whole idea when we're installing this is to keep and maintain a mirror finish. If we don't maintain this mirror finish, there's no point even installing this. You're gonna have marks all over the place. I also recommend using some kind of a solution. So I use Shield Guard when it comes down to it. People will use other things. Soap and water, I find, kind of gets a little sticky over time, while this maintains a pretty good lubricant, maintains itself as a pretty good lubricant. Even when it dries out a bit, it's still pretty slippery. One thing you want to make sure when we do remove the capping is that there's zero dust on the surface. So this means we get into like a fresh buffer for our squeegee, so having a fresh buffer right there, very important. This means if it drops, it hits the floor, and it gets dirty at all, we take it off, we remove it, put a new one on. The products that I'm using today, I'll put a link in the description below. So you know, the Shield Guard, the knife, the tape, whatever else, you know, we're gonna mask off areas around, obviously, because we want to make sure that the film isn't sticking to any unnecessary areas, including the hood that I've already wrapped, because if it sticks to the hood, it can cause damage to the hood, and we don't want that to happen. Now, there is something really cool about chrome, or even just vinyl in general, is it can be polished. So I'm going to show you this in another video. You might see some fine lines and some fine scratches and stuff like that. It can be polished out. We've tested it, we've done it, it's been successful, and I'll show you how to do it in another video. So let's get to it. I have Kirsten here, and she actually came to the level 2 workshop. It's Kirsten right there. She's going to give me a hand placing the film, and she's here also helping me wrap this car. So she's helped me do the hood, she did the roof. You know, we're going to get, it's actually nice to have an extra set of hands. What's nice about this car and having the extra set of hands, or sorry, what's not nice about this car is that this is not a magnetic body. There's no steel to this car, so we can't use any magnets. I could use the gecko patches, which can be pretty handy, but I don't like to rely on it, because if I drop this piece of film, there goes like $100. It's not the cheapest film, it's very expensive. So we don't want to really rely on things that don't adhere too well. This film is also pretty sticky in itself. So what we want to do is just line it up. So we're going to slide it back a little bit. And we're going to obviously cut out, some extra. If you had noticed in the beginning there, at the front of the wheel well, the fender actually comes down towards the bottom of the bumper more, and the bumper is actually less. It's a really interesting car, the body style of this car. So we're going to just tack it, and then what I want to do, you can actually hold your end, and then what I want to do is cut out any excess film. I'm going to try and figure this out right now. Are you got enough length there on your side? You're good on the length? Yeah, perfect. So we're going to find our wheel well. We don't want to have all of this extra film. We might as well use it for like other stuff, because it is so expensive, you know, we can use it for mirrors, door handles, whatever. The mirrors aren't getting wrapped on this. They're like a steel. but we can use it for like inlays and other things. Also on top of that, we're gonna minimize how much film we have here so that we don't have so much resistance when it comes to stretching. You can see the finish on this, and this has the cap on it still. It's pretty amazing. Well, if I had a nicer equipment, I would definitely use it. Alright, let's get through here. Perfect. I'll just take this piece and place it inside the vehicle, this way it stays out of the way. Now, I'm going to try to install this with most of the cap on the chrome. That way, I minimize how much scratching happens. So we're going to start here. I'm going to lift it up again a little bit. Super sticky. And I'll pass Kirsten that edge right there. So give me 1 second. Let me grab the bottom. Cool. Yep. Alright, so we'll get it back into position. Make sure I'm good on the top and the bottom. Good on the bottom. I'm good on the top. We find our hard body line always. And I'm just going to tack it down right about here, because I do sort of have to stretch this across this way a bit. So my body line's right here. And if I had two body lines that protruded, well, I do actually. I have the fender right here and I have this body line right here. When we go to stretch it the other way now, I'll switch spots with you. When we go to stretch it across this way, we want to sort of hit this body line and that body line kind of at the same time. It's more of like a middle point. Now, when I move the film like this, it doesn't actually cause any damage, which is nice. But we usually do that in like swift motions. So you can see as I pull it across, where I am able to slightly stretch this. What I mainly want to look for is that I don't have any extra slack in this area right here. This is going to cause a lot of problems when it comes down to stretching the vinyl to the edge of the panel. So again, I'm trying to leave the capping on, and it might give me like a 5% stretch. Not going to give me much, but not even a 5% stretch, like a 1 to 2% stretch. I want to watch the bottom here because I have space here, and I want to make sure my line and everything's good, that I don't get too much bunched up material in this space here. So I may need to come back a bit and just have a better starting point right about here, where I keep things a bit more flat, and then pull a little harder. Come back a little bit more right there. Let's see. So I want to try and sort of like pull it and lay it in to that area. Keep it nice and tight. Not quite, a little high. It's not bad. If I find that I'm not getting enough stretch across, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to remove the capping, because it's not worth it to damage the film and haze it out or get creases in it than it is to get like buffer marks in it. So the fine swirl marks that I'll get from this, we can polish those out. So I'd rather deal with the lesser of two evils. So I think that because it's a little bit more rigid, I'm going to remove the capping on this. I thought that I could install some of it without it. Again, we're just going to not mess around here. We're just going to take it off. So when it comes to doing the capping, what I'll do normally is I'll just cut, you can use a piece of tape, but I'll just cut a little slit, and then I'll tear it sort of off the rest of the way. And usually the cap starts to separate right about here, and it gives me a little spot to start with, so I can flick an edge up or use my blade to get an edge up. Obviously we're doing this on an area that's going to get trimmed off afterwards, so no big deal. And then now we're able to just get rid of the cap. So we're going to be slightly careful when we're removing this. We don't want to cause any creases. It shouldn't, but you never know. See that this stuff right here doesn't go anywhere. Alright, so we're going to put the film back where we need it, or we just anchor it down again just in case it might have moved. See, the hood is in my way, a bit of a pain, not that big of a deal though, because it's going to inhibit me with this flap right here. I'm not that worried about it. Now, what I can do is take a little shield guard, and I prefer to spray this on the buffer itself. And I'm just going to get this section here anchored and placed down. Now what I'll do is I'll put a relief cut right around the hood. And I've also got tape there, right? So we're not causing any damage, just in case we might touch the hood with our blade. Perfect. It's anchored there. I'm going to anchor it right here just for safe measure. And then we're going to go back to square one over here and stretch the film across a little bit better. As the film's been sitting for a while, yes, it becomes a little bit more sticky, a little bit more tacky. All right, so now I'm going to go for it. I have a lot more pliability to the film. There we go. I'm pulling without heat. So we're going to watch what's happening here. I don't want to cause a wrinkle, so I want to get that one first. There we go. And then I'm going to take care of everything on the top here because I don't want anything to get underneath. Squeegee's like almost anything else as far as that part goes, so not much different in that sense. When we use some kind of a lubricant on it, it does help the squeegee to actually glide a little bit nicer, especially across a gloss finish, so that we don't get hung up. And what I mean by that, the squeegee can drag on the film and we can get a wrinkle. We don't want that. So we're gonna use it through here. And I'm gonna start feeding from the top a little bit. So if I lock in this center point right here, I can make a nice line where I can feed in from the top. Lock it in kind of right through. There we go. And then everything I work down from there. So I'll lift it from here. And we'll just make sure we're feeding into this recess. Start working down here. Now you don't have to not add heat, you can add heat, it's not a big deal. I'm going to take a bit of heat and contour this. I want to get that one bubble out. There we go. I do have my heat gun on the hottest setting because that's how I like to work with it, but we use heat within moderation. So as you notice, my heat gun is a little bit further than it would normally be from other wraps. I don't get too close with it. right, so for here, we're gonna have a lot of excess slack in this area, so what we really need to do is we need to pull down, because we have some tension, obviously, leading across, because we stretched the film across. I like to pop this film up as fast as possible, because it minimizes how much damage we could cause to it. Slipped. And then we're just gonna iron this out a little bit, that way we can level it out a bit. So I'm gonna put a little shield guard right there. Get a little air. And I can use that to come over here. Keeping tension on the film is going to help me pull and keep the slack from coming back or getting in my way. So we have to kind of lead the film down. See what I'm doing? The wrinkles get flatter. We want to squeeze you over it when it's as flat as possible. And then there's no slack in this area right here. As soon as we get to a certain point, just roughly around here, we're gonna have this tension line right now. Off the door, there we go. So if I push down on this tension line and lead it across, this film will kind of keep rolling itself around the panel. If we end up getting a lot of tension and the film's not like rolling over anymore, what we can do is we can put a relief cut. So I put one somewhere on the outside here, because you can see the tension kind of leads all the way out. I'm not really at that point yet, but you know, if I lead it all down at the same time, it should be okay. But right around now, this is resisting me too much. I'm just going to cut it out of the way, making sure that. And so we have a lot less to deal with over there. Now it's all over here. As we get close to the bottom, yeah, we can kind of come straight down. Like I said, the fender's almost done. What we're going to do now is we're going to go over all the edges with some heat. Make sure we get everything nice and straight before we cut, and then we're going to cut. So all this you want to take care of. Make it nice and smooth. So now we've gone over almost everything here. We're going to cut out this area here, and we're going to cut out the bottom of the wheel well, or the bottom of the fender over there, and then we're going to trim out some of this so we only have about an inch, because we don't want to have too much. So I start on the inside slightly, and I work my way out. And then we're going to take our blade, not too long, not too much of a blade, and I'm cutting on the bottom side. This should glide. A couple of stones in there and stuff like that, obviously not a big deal. Or the paint's a little bit rough, just a little bit older of a car. These two pieces probably meet, and there's a little bit of vibration and friction. So we'll just feel that up right there. We don't want to heat the edge too hot before we tuck it in. We just want to soften the film, and then we can go over it a little bit hotter afterwards to seal it all up. As long as we're not putting our squeegee on the face of the vinyl while it's hot. For over here, I've masked so I can cut and then leave a little extra so I can pre-tuck the film and then trim off any excess and tuck in a little bit more. So again, I usually start on the inside a bit. And then where the headlight meets, the gap becomes a little bit wider. So I'm sort of going to stop, and I'm going to come underneath the headlight right now. And and just take that piece as a separate piece right now. Okay, and then I have to come all the way down still. So, I'm staying out of your way, but your body position is very important when you're cut. I'll keep reminding you that many, many, many times. Oh, then cut all the way through. Just pushing a little bit too light because it's a thicker film, it's a little bit more difficult to cut through. There. If you're interested in what you can do at this point, is you can usually flex the bumper a little bit, or you can flex panels and stuff like that. If it ends up being too tight, then we'll just push in a bit and then we'll tuck out any excess. But we can get it in there pretty good, see? And the tape helps us do that. Perfect. I'm gonna leave myself a little bit more around there as well. I'd rather have a little bit too much than too little when it comes to the tuck. I should probably stab a blade off because it may be getting dull. I know it's pretty sharp, but it doesn't take much to make the blade dull with this kind of material. And I'll leave a bit of a tab at the top, obviously, to do the corner. I'll show you how I'll do that. So before I even tuck all that in, I'm going to do the corner. We're going to trim some of this vinyl back. I have way too much. Perfect. And I've got myself a good little section right here. These corners are much different, okay? So we can only heat very little. That means that we want to touch it, just kiss it with a bit of heat, soften it up, pull it, and we do them similarly, but then there's going to be a lot of massaging the film around the corner afterwards. That's it. Pull it outwards. We have to know where the end of the corner is in order for us to land on it properly. So now that I've done that, I want to make sure that I'm lifted off of the tape. And this way when I heat, it will shrink and I'll know what it's going to do. Perfect, it's pretty round. I'm happy with that. Now I know I've got a bit too much in here, especially on the top side, so I'm going to trim it back even further. And then I'm going to get really tight into the corner. Because excess film around the corner is just going to make it look ugly, and it's going to get really wrinkled. Trim this back a little bit more. And then we're going to get that piece out of there. So now we're going to tuck in around the light. I can probably use my wider squeegee for this part. We'll try it. There we go. So there's a piece in there I'll just trim out afterwards, excess. we got to make our cut down here. I've done the cut across the bottom here. We've got to lay into the wheel well, and then we've got to obviously trim out all the rest here and just touch up this corner here. The top corner over here is actually pretty easy. This one over here is a little bit more difficult. So again, I'm going to leave myself a tab over on this side. So we'll start sort of like right here, because there's a space here, right? And I can come in from here, and then we can get on the, we're going to cut on the door side, right? We gotta be very careful when it comes to this because there is a rubber trim. We don't want to cut it. There's like a gasket between the door and the fender. Move my body. I'm just gonna come down around the bottom. Makes it easier. And there we go. Again, I'm going to leave myself a bit of a tab over here. We can come down and around over here. Again, I'll leave myself a little bit more of a tab so I can fold in and around that corner and in and around this corner. This one requires me to open the door, so we're going to do that. Find the door handle. There we go. And also, when I'm here, obviously I'm going to go in and squeegee all this in, lock it all in. So on a hard body line like this is where we can get wrinkles. So we want to focus here, and there's one on the bottom as well, with our heat and with our push and our pressure down. Because the wrinkles are very hard to push away in the chrome. So it takes a bit more pressure and a bit more heat. It's a fine balance between pressure and heat. So I'm going to go inside over here and do this corner right here. A little bit more tricky as well. I got the window trim thing in the way. Doesn't remove, it's riveted on actually. I couldn't see how to remove it at least. It's not a big deal. Just warm that up a little bit. Take it, and then we're just going to kind of pull it out and around very, very, very close to that corner. If you're having trouble doing the corner, what you do is you can do like a cut and a fold, which means that we kind of overlap the two pieces of vinyl. Nothing wrong with it. If it makes it look like it's not wrinkled or it's going to hold better, it just makes more sense to do a cut and a fold. So I might have to do a slight cut and a fold on the bottom here. You kind of see what that looks like. Let's take off my glove. Trim out some excess behind. There we go. And I'm going to come out and leave myself only what I need. Okay, so where you want to do the cut and the fold is on the sharpest angle where the vinyl kind of like looks like it creases almost. So we push one side down, give a bit of heat for this, and then we roll the other side over. So we're going to need a bit of heat for that. I'm going to move on to the other side over here so I can heat it. excess that I might have, we're going to trim it off right now. I have a tiny bit right there. Again, we're just kind of cutting behind the corner. There's that little bit right there. I'm going to get it out right now. Now I'm going to push down again one more time with a bit of heat. Got a little plate. I got a little plate in the metal, which is nice. That really helps us get it down. So we've got a pretty nice looking corner here. There's like two tiny little wrinkles more on the backside. Not worried about it. Alright, so now we're going to finish off the engine bay area. Might as well heat the wheel well area and just do this cut all at once. Do the two cuts. So we're going to gradually lead the film in, little by little. And then at the end here, Soren will actually show you how far in I went. And the bottom is where it gets a little bit more tricky. Not too bad though. Adhesion tends to be a little bit lower down here as well because of stone chips and just eating up the paint over time. So it's not the smoothest surface, but we get it done. So we want to go in, obviously, to the point of where we can see paint still. That's the whole idea. The top side doesn't matter so much. You do want to go into about the same all the way through, but if you happen to miss something up here, it's not the end of the world. So now I'm going to cut. We just run our blade on the back side of that inner edge. Stand up. Actually, I'll move over here. And you're going to hear me hitting the fender guard. Not a big deal. It's just plastic. Stones are hitting it all the time, so don't even worry about it. There we go. Let's trim off the bottom piece here. That's done. I'm going to get it to this side over here. Trim this out. Back of the blade, again, I'm hitting the fender guard. Just stay on the back side of the actual fender itself, so that we're not cutting into it. Just trying to find the end here. It's a little bit dark down here. There we go. And then I'm going to come up. That, but we'll just cut here next. So I'm going to run my blade on the back side here. top here and trim off any excess we might have. Perfect, so now I'm going to go over these edges with heat. That's the fender wrap. Alright, so I'm just going to peel off the tape over on this side. And then we can give it a little bit of a wipe down. And we're going to end up polishing most of this car. This is a quick polish at the end. Get all of the teeny tiny little fine lines out that you're seeing probably in the video. I'm sure a ton of you are going nuts about it. It's pretty impressive when you see this thing when it's finished. So that's it. Guys, I hope you liked the video. If it was informative and helpful, don't forget to give it a like. And if you guys want to see more videos, or especially what this car looks like in the end, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. Take care.